I came across a fascinating article in Politico entitled Elon Musk's Techie Transhumanism versus the Religious Right. And I thought it was a perfect example in demonstrating just how out of touch the legacy media really is, how utterly left behind they are in not understanding the historical moment we're all living in. Again, it is by Politico, which of course got millions in USAID funds to spread pro-liberal, pro-establishment, anti-Trump propaganda. And their writers continue to exemplify a total buffoonery in their analysis of our politics. The gist of the article is that there's a radical discrepancy, a radical partisan divide between Elon Musk's, well, shall we say, alternative lifestyle, right? In fathering, well, they're claiming now 13 children with 4 different mothers. There's a radical discrepancy between that and the family values crowd of the Christian right, which raises the prospect of a tech versus trad rift in 2025's most powerful Republican coalition. Now, the occasion for the article was the rather, stunning tweet from the young conservative influencer Ashley St. Clair, who claimed last Friday on Valentine's Day that she is the mother to one of Elon Musk's babies. Now, the claim is yet to be verified. Musk himself has not commented on it. But regardless, as Politico writes, among the comments to her tweet, there were a number of so-called prominent religious conservatives who had a bone to pick with Elon Musk. So the examples they gave were conservative author Bethany Mandel, who responded to the revelation from Ashley St. Clair, quote, "I strongly recommend having a baby daddy who lives in your house so that you don't have to tweet him." John Rood, a sports announcer and former Turning Point USA employee, wrote that the episode reflected how, quote, "much of conservatism is filled with godless hypocrites who couldn't care less about conserving traditional family values." And Matthew Schmitz, editor of Compact magazine, wrote that Musk represents, quote, "a genetic determinist right opposed to a more culturist right that insists on the importance of marriage and monogamy." Now, right away, I want to point out here, this is what we might call an elitist bias in Politico's analysis. This is an elitist bias. In other words, it's an issue that comes up when studying, for example, ancient texts that were written by highly literate elites, and then treating the attitudes and sentiments in those elite texts as if they were normative for ancient society as a whole. In other words, ancient historians have often generalized what Romans believed based on what one ancient Roman scholar believed, right? As we now know, the sentiments among our elites and the sentiments among the people are often dramatically at odds. They're not even remotely the same, right? So this article automatically privileges an elitist bias and then attempts to normalize that bias for religious conservatives in general. That is simply not something you can do anymore, all right? Any more than you can continue to pit two movements that were previously diametrically opposed to each other, but are no longer. And this is where Politico makes its biggest mistake. And again, they're not alone. I'm seeing this on a number of articles on Trump's IVF order that he just announced the other day. Here's a headline, for example: Trump moves to widen IVF access, risking conservative fury. And the byline reads, U.S. President Donald Trump moved Tuesday to increase access to in vitro fertilization, a move which risks a backlash from conservatives and the religious right. Now, my argument to you here is that these legacy media journalists are living in the past. Perhaps this is wishful thinking. I don't know. But their analysis is clearly no longer applicable today. These articles, these headlines, all exemplify an old liberal paradigm that is now dead. And a new paradigm, a populist paradigm, is rising that completely transcends the old binaries. So what do I mean by that? Well, that's exactly what we're going to find out. But first, gang, have you ever wondered why the pharmaceutical industry spends the most of any other industry on lobbying politicians? We're talking to the tune of a whopping $400 million annually. Why are they doing that? Well, one of the reasons is so that they can keep patenting and monopolizing natural remedies that should be readily available to everyone for reasonable prices. For example, right now as we speak, the FDA is attempting to change the status of NMN supplements to be classified as a drug, which would allow pharmaceutical companies to control it. Now, I've been using NMN for some time now, and it's proven to reduce weight and lower cholesterol and blood pressure. It's been dubbed the limitless pill and definitely shouldn't be in the hands of the FDA and big pharma companies. So this is why I love supporting Black Forest supplements. I take them every day, and I always ask them to give my followers a special discount so they can get their hands on NMN and back a company that stands with my values and fights against government tyranny. They agreed to an amazing buy two, get one free 48-hour promo. That's a buy two, get one free 48-hour promo. This stuff isn't cheap, so it's a great opportunity to stock up, and I wanted my followers to have a chance to get their hands on NMN. I take it every single day. I love it, and we need to continue supporting Black Forest supplements because they're ready to fight for this. Click on the link below and take advantage of their buy two, get one free for limited time. Click on that link below right now. We talk a lot on this channel about the rise of populism in the world, which many people recognize. There's article after article on it every day in the legacy media, but very few actually understand the nature of populism. Certainly the writers of Politico don't understand it. The key to populism is that it redefines the horizontal divide, the divide between left versus right, liberal versus conservative, technologists versus traditionalists. It redefines that horizontal divide vertically. So populists redefine the political divide around the people versus the permanent political class, the people versus progressive elites who are completely out of touch with our values, interests, and concerns. Again, ironically, just like the writers of Politico are. So we could see automatically that this article, this writer for Politico in this article, this writer's trying to pit the technologists like Musk against the traditionalists of the religious right by operating from a horizontal interpretation of the political divide. Musk's techno-libertarianism is on the left, and the religious conservatives' family values are on the right. But if the new political divide, the populist-oriented political divide, is now a vertical divide between the people and the corrupt elite, then suddenly both techno-libertarian and the religious conservative find themselves on the same side of the divide. Do you see how it works? We're actually seeing this even within the world of religious denominations. In his 1988 study entitled The Restructuring of American Religion, scholar Robert Wuthnow noticed that since World War II, American religiosity has been going through a comparable populist realignment. So like back in the day, for example, a conservative Baptist would have been on the opposite theological end, or as it were, the opposite ideological end, I should say, than a conservative Catholic. A conservative Baptist, right, fundamentalist Baptist and a conservative Catholic would be on just two ends of the denominational spectrum. But now they're finding the conservative fundamentalist Baptist might find who have more in common with a conservative Catholic, or even, dare I say, a conservative Mormon than he does with a fellow liberal Baptist. You see, and this is the restructuring of the world that we're seeing, creating nothing less than a new social order. a literal social order that Catholic scholar Patrick Deneen refers to as Aristopopulism. This is really, to me, it's very fascinating because it shows you how this new vertical divide is redefining social order. Patrick Deneen draws from the observation of Aristotle, who noted that you're always going to have an elite. You're always going to have your top 1%, as it were. You're always going to have an aristocracy of some kind. But the key here is that you want an aristocracy that uses their power and wealth to enact and realize and bring into reality the values, interests, and concerns of the vast majority of the people. So for Aristotle, that's the healthiest kind of society at all, where you have a harmony between your elite, between your aristocracy, and the values, interests, and concerns of the people. That's the kind of society that builds beautiful libraries and churches and concert halls, music conservatories, and the like, museums. By contrast, a society that has an aristocracy that despises the people, that hates the people, that wants them to eat cake like our liberal elite, that aristocracy is an oligarchy. An aristocracy that rules in accordance with its own values, interests, and concerns, that despise and disdain the people, and that care only about their own power and wealth. That's a hellhole. But a society where the people overthrow that aristocracy and rise up against them like something akin to the French Revolution is just mob rule, right? Guillotines, chaos, and the like. Well, that's not much better either. So what you want is you want this balance, a harmony between the rich and the wider population. And that harmony comes when the rich use their power and their affluence to enact and realize and help flourish the values, interests, and concerns of the people. That, my friends, is exactly what we're seeing with the rise of what's called the new tech right. That's where Elon comes in, right? This is a group of ultra-wealthy, ultra-innovative tech pioneers who are all in on building a new civilizationalist world dedicated to faith, family, and freedom. Now, of course, it involves Elon, involves Vivek Ramaswamy, Peter Thiel, Balaji Srinivasan, and most especially J.D. Vance. J.D. has been one of the leaders of the rising new tech right. In fact, the Politico article actually for a moment rightly recognized something akin to this paradigm shift, this populist vertical paradigm shift, in noting how the old religious right, represented by Mike Pence, that's the horizontal religious right, has been replaced now by J.D. Vance. But again, the article missed just how much Vance embodies this Aristopopulism, this new vertical relationship, this new vertical social order, this new union between tech and trad. So Vance is the bridge between Appalachia and Silicon Valley, having grown up in rural Ohio and made his fortune in tech with the investor Peter Thiel. So Vance, of course, as well as is a convert to traditionalist Catholicism. So all of this is to say that while there is clearly a difference of opinion and value and sentiment in terms of how we enact faith, family, and freedom among, or between, I should say, the more techno-libertarian wing and the more traditionalist conservative wing, in a populist realignment, they are now both on the same side. They're now equally united in forming a new social order characterized by an Aristopopulism where tech and trad mutually reinforce one another in their shared values of faith, family, and freedom. Again, how they work those values out is going to be different, but they're still highly aligned nonetheless, precisely because the horizontal divide that once kept them apart has collapsed because of the populist revolt. So there you have it. The tech right and the trad right are indeed thoroughly aligned. And the old guard at Politico, well, they have yet to catch up with this realignment. By the way, click on the link in the description below to get all these articles and tweets I reference throughout my videos emailed to you each and every day. You're going to love it. We want you to have the best resources out there to convince your family and your friends of this new MAGA super age that's rising here. Hey there, Dr. Steve here, and I got a question for you. What if you could go back in time and get in on the Bitcoin era when it was still just under $1? Or buy a prime real estate before the market exploded, say, in Manhattan? Or invest in a company like Tesla before the whole world caught on? Well, that's exactly where we are right now. The parallel economy is exploding like never before. New financial opportunities are opening up, and those who see the shift and take action early are the ones who will prosper the most. That's why I'm hosting a live 90-minute event on February 27th called the America's Golden Age Summit. Now, I'll be joined by some amazing expert guests who are going to show you how to position yourself for massive success in this new era. But even better, what exactly to do in this new era. It's a truly one-of-a-kind, game-changing event. Click the link, grab your spot, and be a part of America's Golden Age Summit. Do not miss this chance to get ahead. I can't wait to see you there.